Okay, took care of that after shout out. Now I am keeping up with my promise to do part 2 of the damage reports video that was released quite some time today. I'm a big fan and supporter of the damage report. I am an NRA not member, but believe it or not, the Second Amendment rights. I'm an LGBT member as demisexual, and I'm definitely not a fan of Trump, not because I hate the man, because a lot of other people say that people like myself, who are a part of that LGBT world and a part of their own independent voice, they apparently hate the man. No, I don't hate the man. I'm past Donald Trump. I've moved on from Donald Trump. And here I am to watch John Iadarola and Francesca Ferrenti take on the hot topics. So we're going to start the video again, and you're going to see my full-on reaction, and here we go.
We're going to take a short break. Lots more to get to after this.
Okay, so now we're on to part 2. John responds to the Dragon Squad.
By the way, you see it go around on Reddit every once in a while. I don't remember the exact numbers. It doesn't really matter. But it's something like, if starting the moment Jesus Christ was born, you were paid $7,000 an hour,
his name,
and that continued up until the present day, you wouldn't have as much money as Jeff Bezos or something like that. I don't know the exact numbers, but people throw out that stuff like that, and it's like, yeah, no. $1 billion.
I wouldn't want to be that rich anyway, me personally.
Yes. $1 million's a lot, but a millionaire and a billionaire are not the same thing.
True facts. True facts.
Anyway, well, with that, let's jump into some.
And I also don't say the Almighty
everyone.
up above, like God. I don't get into that. I don't say that. I say the Almighty, Heavenly Father.
I don't think that it's possible.
Heavenly Father,
people
Almighty.
Were saying, Francesca, we should really try to do a live event before the election.
Yes.
Yeah, hype live.
Yes. Let's go do a live event.
So I was looking into that. I just think it's so super close. It's too close to do, but I was looking into an LA event maybe in December.
Ooh.
Okay, maybe we can do it mid-coup.
Yeah, if we can do a mid-coup, we'll just, we'll...
I love that I threw in a we there to what you were already working on.
No, you're welcome. I mean, if your boss will allow it.
Yeah, I don't actually know if they would. I would have to talk to them. Again, down with bosses! But anyway, we'll see. Send messages. Send super chat.
And Francesca's smile says it all right there.
Today telling them we want a TDR, more likely, live event. Free the John. Anyway, with that said.
Free the John.
Okay. Let's see.
Hashtag free the John.
Hold on. Gabby Marita says, John is rapidly settling into the sort of dad life of taking things apart, ignoring any and all instructions provided, and insisting he knows how it works anyway, and I kind of love it. It went back together perfectly. It was great.
I don't think it's that difficult. John's done a lot more. He's like built benches.
Yes, I have.
I don't know how to do that.
Carlin the True Prophet says, John, I know you're a big John Oliver fan, as am I. So if you're not seeing it, he had a great interview in the New York Times podcast I watched on YouTube. Yeah, I did see that. For some reason, I don't know, I love John Oliver, but sitting down to like a 40-minute interview that he's not leading.
Fake news is a little slow.
It just fills me with anxiety, and I haven't listened to it.
I watched the whole thing. It was obnoxious. I found the interview obnoxious. Almost a million views though. Good for them.
Oh wow.
No, you should listen to it.
Today at the age of 58, who I did my article on.
Well, I know this Sunday was their final episode. I didn't see it yet, but I plan to. Diane Kuroda, thank you for becoming a member on YouTube. Much appreciated. Anxiety Dragon also became one. Thank you so much. Chaotic Neutral Dragon gifted a membership. Thank you. Let's see. Gabby Maps gifted 20 members. Thank you. That's awesome.
Boy Montabo, who died of brain cancer. I did my short on him already.
18 months on YouTube says, hey, John and Francesca, wonderful Gabby gave me a membership. See, can you remind people they get a free super chat with gifted membership squad? I didn't. Well, yeah, I guess with each month of membership, you get a free super chat, and so yes, when it's gifted, you also get that free one. Hey, another perk of being a member, by the way, you get a freebie super chat.
Oh.
Okay, let's see.
Cool.
Alana Hampton says,
what's it cost?
Super chat, happy to announce I finally have power in South Carolina. The damage has been horrible in the area from Helene. Still no internet. Geez, yeah, it's been days now, and we're going to be talking a little bit about some of the aftermath of it on the other side of this. Okay, Alexander Pontier says in super chat, Trump, there's something wrong with Kamala and I. Emperor Napoleon would know. And by the way, Waterloo was totally rigged. Nice. And Gabby Madsen said in the super chat, Jimmy Carter turned 100 today. Happy birthday, President Carter. What a great person.
Happy birthday to him.
He does seem very nice, and I can't believe it's been 100 years. Wow. We should be so lucky.
All right, so the video kind of like spazzed it out, and then it dropped down, so just ignore this advertisement. I just had to refresh it, because when I went to scroll down, it got locked.
with each month of membership, you get a free super chat.
And he already said this, so.
Just for the season. Because they don't do it year-round like some people. That's all.
So, here we go.
We're going to do it?
Final episode of the season. He's not done. They still need to get 20 or...
Right about right.
And, Gabby Madsen said in a super chat, Jimmy Carter turned 100 today. Happy birthday, President Carter. What a great person.
Yeah, happy birthday again.
He does seem very nice, and I can't believe it's been 100 years. Wow. We should be so lucky. Okay, with that said, more news coming up after this.
And as a matter of fact, what I could do...
Welcome back, one and all. By the way, we were talking about John Oliver in the social break. The final episode of the season. He's not done. They still need to get 20 or 30 more Emmys, I'm sure. They're going to be going for a while, just for the season. Because they don't do it year-round like some people. That's all I'm saying, John. That's all I'm saying. 24/7. Okay, with that said, why don't we jump into more news? Florida Republicans are seemingly at odds on the topic of climate change, which of course is something a lot of people I think are understandably thinking about since the entire east coast of the United States has been utterly devastated by a hurricane recently. We want to start with Rick Scott, obviously in a very close re-election bid for the Senate, and here he is talking about the subject.
Something is, who knows what the reason is, but something is changing. Massive storms, massive storm surge. So we've got to figure this out. But here's the positive. We're going to do it. We're going to
stop on the phone in Largo, Florida, overseeing the damage.
Isn't it
in an
pretty
interview with
obvious
CNN.
that the climate is changing, and that is changing the size of these storms and making them as big as you just described?
And absolutely something's changing. The climate is clearly changing, and what we got to do is, like when I was governor, I spent a whole bunch of money on resilient sea level rise issues and beach renourishment issues, and trying to make our state more resilient. So what we've got to do is we know things.
I know a lot of people who did not like Rick Scott
figure out how do we
that I've talked to in the past,
that.
going back like 8 years since I've lived here.
Okay, here is
a lot of people did not like him.
Sad truth. That's like the best you're gonna get from the Republican Party.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, no, something's happening.
Something's happening.
The climate is changing. I mean,
yeah.
Who's to say what's changing? It's certainly not tens of thousands of climate scientists operating across the entire face of the earth, but something. So we should do resiliency or whatever. So implying, okay, I accept that something's happening. I know that my career will be over if I say what's actually happening and who's causing it. Us. But it's happening, and we should do something about it. That is pathetic in light of, the fact that we've known this has been going on since the 70s at the very least. But again, that's probably the best you're going to get.
Jimmy Carter's birthday's tomorrow.
In comparison, in Florida,
do a special shout out to him.
With more cultural cachet on the right, like Ron DeSantis.
He's not
they've actually
turned his age
forced
yet.
textbook authors to cut any reference to
But
climate
he's
change
coming up on
or those books to be acceptable
his 100th birthday
in
tomorrow.
Florida schools. Remember,
do a special shout out
this
to
is
him.
the party that doesn't like propaganda. So they choose what your kids can learn or not when it comes to
exactly
the
what
science,
I've been
not
saying
the
on my channel.
scientists. So
Republican Party, especially in Florida,
you're going to end up
canceling
with
books, cutting out
stripped
programs,
clean of any references to climate change,
trying to control what children have the right to be and who they are.
That's what's going to happen. Thanks to Ron DeSantis. And it also cuts references to
Ron DeSantis,
a whole lot of social justice, critical race
I
theory.
won't bash him
you don't get
for
to learn anything
his support
about
on
anything. It's Florida.
Hurricane Helene,
You're
but
supposed
for
to
the whole
be
school
in
thing,
school until you're senior high
make
school.
Florida great
so
again.
You meet someone, get married, start pumping out kids
Florida's
that will serve
hurting
as cheap labor.
right now,
That's the
and
only
it's been
point of
hurting.
any of this, Francesca.
Flotation devices for when you and your home, fall away.
Yeah,
I mean,
really.
and it's not just textbooks, right? Like this year, he signed a law that said you cannot mention climate change in state Florida law. So
typical
goodbye.
Ron DeSantis, even though he turns around and creates this new,
and this is the thing,
gotta
is, like,
fight this
if they
hurricane
expect to
and
get
help
any federal
relief
funding for this kind of
for the
climate
storm's damage
preparedness,
for all the
which it
Floridians
seems like Rick
affected,
Scott
all the
was sort of
power.
talking about, which is their equivalent. Let's be real. Climate preparedness
And Rick
is
Scott
very
and Ron
important,
DeSantis are not
but
on the same
it is
page.
the climate change equivalent of a bulletproof
There's a big
backpack,
contradiction
people.
there that gets
All right?
exposed here.
Of course we need resilient cities
Rick
and
Scott
towns.
contradicts DeSantis on climate change.
Answer is probably,
just by outright admitting that something's going wrong.
Thicker wall. I gotta get a thicker wall. And so, look, we'll take that because it's the only thing we have.
Yeah,
but
really.
You're not even going to recognize that there's climate change afoot and that is impacting.
At this point, we'll just settle for anything the Republicans give us
over others.
I mean,
and you
just
still
be glad
want
just to get
FEMA
anything
funds,
from the
you still
Republican
want federal
Party.
funds. Now, I believe everyone should get those funds, but at what point, I mean, shoe on the other foot, they're like, no, we shouldn't give any money to a state that, supports abortion rights or supports gender-affirming care or is a sanctuary state. So again, we need to depoliticize these issues and especially climate change.
Right now, Florida will be mostly underwater in less than 20 years. No. Give it like a 30 or 40 at least.
It is
It'll be fine.
400 miles from a coastline.
Louisiana will be the one underwater first, so I pray for those people in Louisiana.
For a hurricane
Special shout out to you
Asheville,
in Louisiana.
North Carolina, it's because, again, the seawater is warming, supercharging these hurricanes so that when they do make landfall, you're getting 40
water's warming
inches of
because
rain
we
in
are
less than a
allowing
day.
the planet to
So
basically
it is just so sick
be
that
affected
we've done that,
by
John. And
long-term
the real thing,
man-made
back to the gun analogy,
impacts. So therefore,
is
the
the
oceans
oil and
stay
gas
warmer
lobby.
longer. The
And
storms in the
sadly,
season
Democrats are also
are
on the same
broadly
gravy train, although to a
affected from
slightly
this.
lesser extent. But again,
I mean,
this
it's
is
really
the thing
simple.
you can never name.
It's a long,
Republicans
long
will
time
never
of
call it
effects.
out. They will never say, yes, I take hand over fist money
'cause
from the oil and gas industry. We give them subsidies so that they deliberately keep the oil prices high. That's right. And meanwhile, our cities are floating away. No, it is money in politics. That's the root of all of this.
100%. And by the way, maybe for conservatives watching this, I know that you think that one of the things the government's supposed to do is protect you and your family. You love the idea of Donald Trump being a protector. So we're gonna put a bulletproof backpack on a kid. Maybe we stop them from being shot at. No. We're gonna put up a wall outside Florida. Maybe we make it so that we don't need a wall to stop the hurricanes. Could we have defense that's not dumb as a donkey? Could we have intelligent defense that looks more than a minute ahead into the future? Is that a possibility? Could we have a government with 3 brain cells? Is that possible? But anyway, by the way, in the lead up to this, and this hurricane has been absolutely devastating. Over 100 people already are listed as dead. God only knows once all these houses are gone into and all that, what the numbers are.
And by the way, the comments is active, even though
Lauren
this
Boebert,
is
just a few days ago,
this
had
chat's
gotten into a big
completely over.
fight with a journalist
Their
when
chat,
she
super
accused
chat
him
has been
of
going on.
bias for saying that
It's
climate
still
change
active.
is a fact.
Oh, God.
So again, we are
Someone told
our government
John's
is
looking
just
so hot
full
right
of
now.
people who
Oh
are
dear,
too
oh dear,
stupid
John.
to be in
You've
charge
got
of
male
literally
fans that
anything,
think
let
you're
alone
sexy,
our government.
or at least attractive.
Now, that
But hey,
said,
take it as a compliment.
Other
bro.
attacks are flying
It's got
on
the
the right,
wolf
having to do with the
comb
hurricane,
over
not
going on in
necessarily
here. I shave mine
acknowledging
off.
the climate change from it. But let's take a look at this.
Oh, Lauren Boebert? Oh man, she's gonna be a real delight to watch. Here we go. Let's listen to this.
Marjorie Green is now being compared to Cancun Ted Cruz. And probably rightfully so, although I don't like who I have to agree with on this. You see, as this devastating hurricane has been hitting a number of U.S. states, she put out this tweet. You see, she was off with Donald Trump at a football game.
Oh, look at this. Marjorie Taylor Greene at a football game smiling.
Oh,
yeah, of course.
Her state was being ravaged
all your
by
Trump
the hurricane.
cult fans can be celebrating for
regrettably pointed out by
Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Who I
Laura Loomer
wasn't at the game.
Didn't get that invite.
With Donald Trump. Marge was there, not Laura Loomer. But again, and look, I don't think that she cares at all about the hurricane. I don't think she acknowledges climate change. But in this case, she wants to take down Marjorie Greene, so she accidentally is accurate. And she says 15 people have died in Georgia during the hurricane. The state of Georgia is experiencing massive flooding, but instead of doing anything, she flies off. Now, I want to ask you, obviously, I don't like anyone involved in this story. I don't like Laura Loomer, I don't like Greene, I don't like Trump, I don't like the hurricane. That said,
I know I said Laura Boebert, but I was wrong.
Did Greene need to be
Laura
in Georgia?
Loomer.
If Greene was in Georgia, do we think she would have done anything helpful anyway? What do you think?
No.
I don't know. I mean, no, but of course not. But do not tweet this out. Don't tweet a picture of yourself, at a football game in a box seat, with your thumb up. You look like an idiot. You look completely, insensitive. That's what it is. It's simply insensitive. You're not actually doing any kind of job. If there's a job to be done, tweet a photo of yourself, sitting in an office, making a call, or putting on some of your high little white heels, some Ron DeSantis heels, and wade out there. But yeah, this is obviously she probably flew there on a private jet. It's all good. And I don't know, John. This is the disconnect, right? Like, this is the disconnect. And then her Republican voters are told to ignore climate change because it's a plot of the Democrats to get you to trans your kids or something.
Well, it's definitely a plot of the Democrats to steal the election. That is all over Twitter, and I know that because I briefly went on Twitter. I don't know why I did that.
Who else would be starting this conspiracy? The right,
10,
Trumpism, the cult of Trump.
No, this was obviously the Democrats created this hurricane. And
totally. Of course.
Like that. And
the Dems totally did it. The big old donkey
huge
party.
Reach and everything. By the way, the death toll in Georgia apparently is at 25, 112
of course.
Nationwide. A massive tragedy.
I'm super tired, but I'm still doing this for you guys on my channel.
We're continuing to lay the groundwork for worse and worse
because our future
to come
is only built by our present every single day.
We're going to move
That's
on to
what
one
counts.
more topic, I think. In
Yes,
this
new topic. Yes.
I want to let everyone know about.
That's my ADD. Okay, gotta get to new topic.
But
JD Vance.
Why don't we jump directly into this and we'll respond to this.
Oh, this is good. Wow.
I'll go back to something I said earlier about we need to reward the things that we think are good and punish the things that we think are bad. So you talk about tax policy. Let's tax the things that are bad and not tax the things that are good. If you're making $100,000, $400,000 a year, and you've got 3 kids, you should pay a different, lower tax rate than if you're making the same amount of money and you don't have any kids. It's that simple.
I totally agree. I love that ending. I totally agree. So look, we know that this is a thing that JD Vance believes should be our policy.
Disturbing.
That if you don't have
Do you hear that?
You're
Trump
the
supporters,
worst, and you should literally pay for it.
If you don't have kids and you're not making 100 grand, you should be paying more money. If you don't have kids and you're not making 100 G's or equal, if you don't have kids, you should be paying more taxes because you're single without kids.
You shouldn't have as much political say, but you should also pay more money to the government, even though arguably if you have kids, the kids are benefiting from government services, so arguably you'd pay more in taxes. I mean, guess you do with sales taxes.
This already exists.
It doesn't make any sense.
But
this
already
is newly
exists.
Uncovered more footage. What is it?
Of course, but what's silly about this whole thing is that a tax code that is more beneficial for families already exists, right?
True.
A tax code,
thank you, girl. Thank you.
It's called having dependents, right?
Yeah, dependents.
And if you flip
I've heard of it, haven't you?
You're talking about a child tax credit.
We can all agree with
no
this.
Republican could bring themselves to extend or even vote for in the American Rescue Plan under Joe Biden.
Sebastian Fritz commenting on John's love old shirt. He loves his old school shirt on there.
For their kid.
This is true.
That we narrowly didn't renew, that Kamala Harris is currently promising and planning on renewing. So put another way, you are disproportionately helping. And yes, I do think we should help families. Again, forget his psychotic proto-natalist
99% of every American in this country should want.
Forget the fact that he hates
a candidate that's
going to
help the families.
Childless women. Just put it in a positive way. Do you support families? Yes.
Yeah.
His idea of supporting families is getting rid of regulations on car seats in cars and asking your grandparents to take care of your kids when it comes to affording childcare. It's just like he's so brain dead on this.
Yeah, I felt brain dead watching him.
He's such an
you guys watch this part? Going back
if you're rich enough, then all good for you, and if you're not, we're gonna punish you. We're gonna punish you. There's another way to say that though, John, which is we're gonna support families by giving them a tax break.
Get to that point of the video.
Or
skip ahead to it. Watch JD Vance.
It's literally Kamala Harris's plan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for him, it's just he has to keep he has the idea is having kids is the only thing that gives you any value whatsoever. Yes. And then he just comes up with 1,000 different offshoots of that. And he spent 2 years just going on all of these troglodytic podcasts to push the idea that there's something wrong with you. A month ago, it came out, he, in one of them, was referring to people without kids as psychotic and deranged.
What?
This is not just a thing of I think that it would be beneficial if we set the tax code. No, this is, he hates people he doesn't know for making decisions he doesn't understand, or maybe not even making decisions. Maybe you want to have kids, but you can't have kids. Doesn't matter. You're psychotic.
Yeah, also, he's
Again,
never
we are
actually
just not
raised his
covered.
kids. Because the only thing that's ever made me feel really psychotic and deranged is being a sleepless mother with sore nipples and no idea how to get my baby to go night-night.
Same.
Being a
Same.
yes, same job.
Don't even know how they got that sore.
What? You tried. Look, you're that much of an ally.
Yeah.
Look, I'm just saying, like, talk to parents. Talk to parents trying to make ends meet in a country
like parents
that
like
doesn't
those who
provide
watch this that are
universal
parents that
healthcare,
know what you're
that
talking
doesn't
about. Been there,
have,
done that. Grandparents now.
Early childhood education.
Imagine what
that
your
has
granddaughter,
exorbitant
your daughter would
prices
feel.
on childcare. Talk to a
your
parent
son,
who's
your-
trying to like do
your
it
daughter
all.
in that
Talk
context.
to any parent. And
Your
you'll know
granddaughter
that we are all
would feel
psychotic and deranged, living under this late-stage
being
capitalist system and
demonized
being
as a
told
mother
that we
with
should have
kids, like
children
she's some
and bring them
psychotic,
into this
crazy
world.
lunatic.
Send
This
them
is
off
what
to
JD
school
Vance
so that
pushes.
maybe they could be gunned down by a mass shooter wielding a gun that you refuse to
Yeah,
regulate.
and not too far off from the stretch where we get into the topic of our kids being afraid in
What do we get
schools.
to after this?
Bad enough children have to be worried about that every day. And I'm so glad they cover a lot of these topics. So John responds to the next portion here.
I want to start off with this comment by Thomas, who says, "Oh, by the way, everyone should go and subscribe to Francesca's YouTube channel. She's amazing and highly underrated. So everybody that's listening or sees this comment that hopefully John reads, hey, I did. Go now and subscribe to her channel. Thanks."
Thank you. Trying to hit 100,000 by the end of the year. I know John just hit 1 million.
It was a while ago. It wasn't just.
I was.
John, you
Don't make me
totally
curse on this show.
showing the clout
By the way,
there, bro.
everybody,
Showing the power.
We got to the million goal, and I know everybody's been thinking, well, what comes next? A bigger number, obviously. So I think by election day, 1,050,000.
Shut up. Subscribe to
1.5, baby.
YouTube.com/Fran
Yes,
Theo.
John.
Habituation
Yes.
Podcast. Let's go, people.
I'm just worried that if you do that,
FRANIFAL.
your mouse might run out of clicks. So do us first, and then if your mouse can still do clicks, then go over and do that.
Well, hey,
But anyway,
Francesca, I subscribed to you
both,
way
everyone.
before that comment was even
Okay,
made,
with that
right
said,
after the
let's get some
discussion
comments.
over Trump's
Ruby Dooby Doo
Purge
Dragon, number 16
nonsense,
months,
and
says,
you're
"Been a
talking
great
about
16 months,
how
and I love this host
illogical
combo.
it is for
Love,
anybody
love,
to think they can
Dragon
become as
Spot."
rich as Elon
Thank you.
Musk.
I
So
love this
thank
host
you,
combo as well.
Francesca. Thank you.
Wilson
Personal
B,
shout
number
out to you,
19 months, says,
Francesca,
he
for
doesn't
that.
enjoy his life. Good. None of us are enjoying his life either.
Me, a personal,
Yeah.
just small little guy
Brandy Lou too,
with a home in Florida on the
45
Space
months. Still a
Coast.
message, but I still appreciate it.
Never did this, by the way.
Dr. Monica Cross
Never have
became
watched
a tier 2 member.
and
It
made
looks
a
like you have
reaction.
been one.
This
I
is
don't
my
know why it
first
says
one.
welcome, but thank you for being a member. Dragon Shepherd, member for 19 months, says, "John, do you really expect MAGA to grasp second-level logic? You're talking 3D chess and they're barely playing checkers. Happy Monday." Look, what I obviously can't expect this, but one would think you can expect someone to at least follow their obvious self-interest. And we can't even get them to do that because they put their need to be artificially and without any benefit placed in one of the medium tiers of the various hierarchies that make up right-wing thought, and they consider that to be more important, a pointless and no-use elevation over other groups based on race and religion and gender and sexuality over their literal financial self-interest. And it works. I don't know why it works, but it works for the right. Vince Pomo.
It's because they don't have to touch the
Vince
topics. They
Pomo,
don't have to
2
answer
months
to
said,
anybody.
Yeah,
They're welcomed into that numbing,
good morning.
blindsided,
I apologize for butchering that. Good morning
ignorant,
to you as well. Alex Warden,
ignoramus
number
type
16
of
months, says, "How did they ever catch
guns,
Diddy? He must
yeah.
have been so slippery."
Patriots, yeah.
That's very funny.
Don't worry about the sensitivity of anybody.
Braybird says in a super chat, "Did you see Jim Gaffigan as Tim Waltz on SNL?"
And the Lincoln
100%
Party
A+.
is not officially
I did.
dead.
It was my wife who recognized him first, which
Not
is
officially.
weird because
People may
like
think
Jim
it, but no.
Gaffigan YouTube videos are one of the things when like I just want to have something on.
Check out the
and
Lincoln
I don't know
Project.
What, I just replay
They
for the
honor
1,000th time a
the
Jim Gaffigan
core of the
YouTube
Republican
video
Party.
or whatever. So I was very
And they
sad.
expose the
You
truth.
apparently called him
Attacking
Tim Walz.
the
Yeah, I
wrongful
thought it
acts
should
of the
definitely
right.
be Jim Gaffigan. He was excellent.
And even
there
some
was,
on the
like,
left.
I couldn't even tell the difference.
Trying
between
to
him
soil
and
the
Walz. He's
name
great.
of the Democratic
Very
Party.
You got the neck movements.
I was hoping for Sean Astin, but Jim Gaffigan is awesome and obviously hilarious. So, okay, Mark Gauthier says in a super chat, "Free the John, call your local plumber." I get what you did there. CK Progressive says in a super chat, "Trump doesn't realize that based on his reasoning, he lost the debate to a mentally deranged person, which makes him look a whole lot worse." Yeah, if you believe what people say about the debate. I didn't actually promote the coverage in that block, did I? I'm going to do it on the
No.
other side of this break. No, we don't have time. I'm going to do it right now. Okay, we're to be doing vice presidential debate coverage 10:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 7:30 p.m. Pacific Time, coming up tomorrow at all of the places that you can watch videos and stuff.
I'm going to be watching it.
So
Maybe I'll do a live video
Zumo and
reaction
Roku
of the
and
whole
Samsung TV
debate
Plus and all of that.
while they're
I'm
watching
hoping
it.
it's
We can do it
awesome.
all
I don't
together.
know. We'll talk more
I'll have
about
it playing in the
tomorrow.
background
First, more
and be
news.
watching it here. It's going to be super exciting. I can't wait to see Tim Waltz crush J.D. Vance because, it's going to be good.
Everybody,
It's going to be
don't
good.
have much time, but we're going to get to both of these, starting with this.
My name is Natasha Stoynoff. In 2005, I went to interview Donald Trump at Mar-a-Lago. At one point, Melania went upstairs to change her clothes for the next photo shoot. And Trump said to me, I want to show you this beautiful painting, this beautiful room. He leads me to this room, pushes me against the wall, and starts kissing me forcefully. I tried to push him. He kept coming back at me. I was in shock, getting smothered, and he had his hands here against my shoulders. I felt sick inside. I felt horrified, and thank goodness a butler charges into the room. Like many women, I blamed myself. So Trump turned to me and said, you know we're gonna have an affair, don't you? And Melania was approaching. I was horrified. When the Access Hollywood tape came out, and also stories of many other women, including E. Jean Carroll, I realized I was not to blame, that he was just a predator of women. What could have happened if the butler had not come into the room? Donald Trump is an adjudicated sexual assaulter. We cannot elect this man as president.
Rick Scott,
Hey, you don't need me to be proven any conscious that he's not to be trusted in the presidency because he sexually abuses women. So
That is an ad revealing the experience. Obviously, you saw it right there. Journalist Natasha Stoynoff. It's
Yes.
expected to be the first of
thank you,
several ads
Natasha
being released
Stoynoff,
by
for
George
speaking out.
Conway's
I want to
Political
personally
Action
say,
Committee.
watching
I
that,
believe it's the
felt
Psycho
everything. You may
PAC.
not know me. I'm just a regular Joe American.
Yes, which
You've
is
made it
amazing,
onto the Damage
definitely.
Report with John
But obviously what they're
Adirola
talking about is
and
serious.
Francesca
These are people who've been through terrible experiences with Donald Trump, who have very often not been heard out. They've been accused of hoping to personally
Try to get
profit.
that straight.
I mean, we all know a lot of women have gotten rich off of making accusations against Donald Trump. The only one conceivably, and I don't even think it's happened yet, I guess would be E. Jean Carroll, and obviously she had about the worst experience one can imagine with Donald Trump. But those ads are being targeted to air on channels frequently watched by Donald Trump, including Fox News, the Golf Channel, and ESPN. They're also being put into the markets where his various houses are. And
Big old
the ads
jug
are
of
being
water.
reserved for slots during the vice presidential debate, which will be happening tomorrow, and we will be doing live coverage. What do you make of it, Francesca?
George Conway, the Conway family, just so conflicted. So, like,
Conways.
I don't say this often or ever, but I kind of do want a reality show of what happens in the Conway household. Just like, I can imagine where, like, Kellyanne hangs up her skin, like that, probably. But this is incredible. This was incredibly effective, and let's just not minimize how much bravery it takes to speak out about a sexual assault that, again, happened to you, and use your name, use your face, use a photo of yourself. People know your profession. I mean, Stoynoff is, we don't even need to look at this. She's absolutely being trolled. She's being followed. She's probably being doxxed at this very moment for even daring to release something like this. But the bravery it takes to speak out. It's just incredible.
I couldn't agree more, Francesca.
And it's
Couldn't
incredibly
agree more.
effective. And also she's really, like, human, right? There's something incredibly relatable.
No,
about her
she's
story.
definitely human. Like,
And
we
again,
all
it
are
doesn't
human.
seem
Francesca,
over
you're
the
human.
top, or sort of like, Donald Trump.
Technically,
or
Donald Trump's human,
predator.
but
Like, it's
he's a
just
Gemini.
her. It's a piano
He wears a
music,
fake
and it's her
face.
saying, this
Facts.
guy should be nowhere near the White House. That's all you need to know. This is, if I were your friend,
Even John
and I'm
Adirola is a
telling you
human.
not to date this guy,
Respect
not to
to
like
you.
this guy, telling you about his
Respect to you,
past. This is
Francesca.
just something you
Respect
should
to you,
know
John.
about him.
Over there on the other
Yeah,
side.
it feels
She's
super
talking
real.
right now.
Obviously, we
Now the both
weren't
of them
there,
are
but, like,
side by side.
Can you imagine anyone you know doing something like that? And
God,
that's the thing they do.
I would support the hell out of that man. Like,
Yeah.
Oh, no,
Hell
sorry.
yeah.
I mean Donald Trump.
Oh,
Like,
Donald
imagine
Trump.
a person doing what Trump did in the story that she relayed. Like, and dozens of women have come forward, and we're supposed to believe that that's all of them. Like, he just
there's more.
Comes over to do a story.
There's always more.
Sexually
They don't just come out to say this stuff because of it.
I guess how
Trump's
he
dirty
operates on a
laundry
daily basis,
is
and sick the idea that he would have
out
any
there.
influence or power, let alone.
But the power
as
of the people,
president.
we the people.
Okay,
Take this
let's
to
get
the vote.
One more ad, I think, to close out the hour. Let's start with this.
Winners never back down from a challenge.
So we're just gonna
anytime, any place.
skip over that.
One.
Get straight to
meet me on the debate stage. If you got something to say it to my face.
Amen to that, girl. Amen to that. I love that.
The Harris campaign
That was
having a little bit of fun at Donald Trump's expense, since he's being an utter coward and hypocrite when it comes to doing another debate. Bear in mind, he originally proposed
that's an awesome
3
ad,
debates
Kamala.
against Harris, and
True facts.
to hear him tell it. He destroyed her in the first
He
one.
did bumble into the
and all
debate.
All of a sudden, he doesn't want any more. He's just such a nice guy. He wouldn't want.
He outright refused to debate her.
Debates, I guess, is what's going on.
The tiniest man who ever lived. Tim Waltz put that song by Taylor Swift right on point with all the list of every song Taylor Swift ever came out that defines
I guess bravery
Donald
out of
Trump.
it. And I think they deserve it. She is willing to go up against him. She wanted to debate a week before the election.
She was
That's
gonna
a risky gambit.
word
They're willing to
verbally
do it, but she
destroy that
isn't.
fool.
And,
Destroy.
by the way, they were originally going to hire a plane to fly a banner over one of the weekend's football games. Unfortunately, the weather conditions forced them to cancel it. But this is what they're doing. They're hoping. I believe those ads are also going to run. They were running during a college football game that Trump was at, and I think they're going to run during the VP debate as well. And good. He deserves the mockery. What do you think?
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Speak
I think
it,
it's
Francesca.
funny.
Speak it.
But I don't know if it's as effective as something like, getting someone who's accused Donald Trump of sexual assault to speak out like that. This to me feels like, okay, we want to drink MAGA tears. It's funny, but all the money that the Harris-Walz campaign is taking in, like,
MAGA
I don't know
tears?
if I would want my money to be spent on something like this. I would want my money to be spent on
rather
knocking
see
doors. I would want my money spent
MAGA
on talking to people
break away from Trump.
on the ground. And actually, honestly,
Because each and every one of them are
telling
hardworking
them,
Americans
what you're going
fighting
to
and
do about
representing.
climate change, about immigration, about
Basically, their families.
ongoing and
Their-
expanded wars
their
in the
name.
Middle East now. And sadly, Kamala Harris is not really going to elucidate
Amanda, will you
that
ever
because
wake
look,
up?
she's running against a
Will
total
you
clown who doesn't
We,
seem the need to even
Americans,
campaign
we're welcoming
and appeal to anybody
people
else.
willing to step away
And
from
of
MAGA.
course, he doesn't want to debate.
We will welcome
I mean,
you.
look,
Talking to you,
Donald Trump
Randy.
is right. If he is going to maintain the narrative that he won, he shouldn't debate her again, right? He
Well,
said
that is true. That's a good
if
point,
I won, which I
Francesca.
think I did,
That's a
then
very
why
good
would
point.
I go back because I already won?
Yeah.
I mean, there is sort of an argument to be made by that. So
To beat
yeah,
her again and to gain
Right.
even more in the polls, you little wussy boy, Trump.
yeah,
do
little
it.
wussy boy.
Look, I think
Little
you're mostly
wussy
right,
boy.
mostly agree. I don't think that she should do an ad about climate change because I get most of my info about climate change from Rick Scott, and how are you supposed to fix it if you don't even know what's causing it? But anyway, I think
Good one,
do
John
all of those
Idarola.
things, and they've got the
Good one,
money to do all
John.
those things. I think the point of this is it is to drive down turnout for Donald Trump, to convince
Yeah.
a small sliver of his base.
It's not a small sliver.
He's not even campaigning.
There's
he's not going to win.
there's
so
at
why
least
take
like
time out of your
30,
day to go vote for him?
35,
That would be my
37 million
expectation.
Americans that will vote for
Just to
Donald Trump.
jazz up your side and get them
Even
more
still now.
enthusiastic,
But I think there's
Even still now,
like
37.
complete the jab.
Okay,
Do you know what I mean? It's
37.
not just about the debate. Complete the jab is like,
Sure.
we
Minimum
go hard,
37,
he's
40,
a loser,
maybe-
he whines.
he might be at
and
39,
that on the national
just
stage,
shy of
on
40
an
million.
international stage looks
gonna be a
like
dang tight
meeting with
race,
dictators
as sad
with
as
no
it is to say.
preconditions. It looks like being weak and
Sure.
slapping Putin on the wrist and
Sad
saying,
because people
"Don't
still
hack our
want
emails," and
to see
all
4
the
more
weak
years of Donald
things that
Trump
he's done on
and all
an
his
international
lies.
scale.
Yeah.
That to me would be like a more effective ad.
I like that as like a slogan. It could be like Kamala Harris, we go hard. Donald Trump can't even get. Sorry, we're running out of time. I think
Yeah,
that
we are,
need to
yeah.
end the
Yeah,
show.
yeah,
everyone.
John.
But I have so much more to talk about.
Even though I love hearing
more
you
in the
talk.
aftermath for the live
I do.
audience, so
Love
stick
hearing you speak
around.
the
We'll be
facts.
back after this.
And they're going to come right back. And now they're on to your butts segment coming up here. We'll be right back. Okay, and we're on right.
Football games. Unfortunately, the weather. One on to the aftermath. John Irola here, Francesca as well. Francesca, you want to give any bit of a preview of what's going on the Bituation coming up?
Ooh,
later
shout
on?
out to Miss Francesca.
We're gonna have,
Speak it, girl.
Tomorrow, Tuesday, 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern. Jamie Loftus, a podcaster and a comedian, is going to be on. She's wonderful, as well as Ari Berman, who is a Nation magazine correspondent who's been writing all about attempts by the Republicans in swing states to steal the election ahead of the election. So all kinds of schemes. So we're going to be running down that, as well as doing live vice presidential debate coverage, rivaling John's. So again, you get sick of John.
Characterization of it, but yes, technically it'll be rivaling it.
It's TYT or it's TDR? Just TDR again?
No, TYT. We don't. We want to do those live events, but we would also be counter-programming, so we
Habituating, that's her channel.
Anyway, I think we did like one debate, like reaction, because TYT chose not to do it, and that was like it. Otherwise, we can't really do it. Anyway, I'm going to read a couple comments, and we're jump into a special little segment. Cassandra pointed out Maya Rudolph has got Kamala's voice spot on. She did the kind of like quaver in the voice that she gets, and it was perfect. Like, it was a very good impersonation. Thank you to Scott, and I think there were one or two other people that liked the vintage Raws War. Brett got me this shirt.
Vintage Raws War.
Also, a lot of people are like,
WWE.
I don't think that Sean Astin would have been good. I mean, he was Rudy. Like, I think he's got that energy. You don't think so? Yeah, okay. Anyway, I like Gaffigan. He's good. Okay, with that said, we don't often talk. We talk with Francesca on Mondays. We don't often talk about Francesca on Mondays, but we're about to, starting with this.
And we get another ad by Boomba Loungewear. We're going to skip on through that.
In people's lives. So Peter, don't interrupt me as you're talking about abortion rights and you say you support a woman's right to choose. Shut up and listen. As someone who's a mom, as someone who could have died herself, okay? It's time for you to shut up and listen to the women.
Damn, that was aggressive.
Slade Piers Morgan.
And so we turn to
Go girl.
Francesca from that video.
Yeah.
I know you've been doing
Tell it like it is
for a while.
Hell yeah.
Did you, when you launched into that, were you at all worried
that
might be your last
a smile in this segment?
You were strong, 100% right, but also very strong and aggressive.
She's smiling so strong, like right here at 108, 20,
I told my audience, and you all should know that I don't care about being invited back on Piers Morgan's show. Often it is me versus 3 diehard MAGA from different walks of grift. And they are some of the most idiotic and insane people I've ever had to have a discussion with. And then there's Piers Morgan. So honestly, they beg me to go on frequently.
Where are women like you in this day and age,
which is
Francesca?
sad for me. And
you better have a man.
To use it
you better be happily married.
Yes, to
because you deserve a loving partner.
Points, but also to have
you
fun.
Do.
And this was a moment where we were talking
about I'm half Italian.
Women's reproductive rights and
Donald
Trump
hands,
claiming that he would protect all women. Piers Morgan finishes saying he supports a woman's right to choose.
My hands are like this.
And then I speak,
while I'm watching this,
and he decides to interrupt me in the middle of speaking. And that I found to be just a little bit too hypocritical. When you support women and yet you're going to interrupt them when they're making a point about truly women being left to die, women being asked to wait until they are dying before receiving life-saving abortion care. And again, a lot of these women are people who not only already are moms,
read between the lines, Republicans. Read between the lines, you
for whatever reason is non-viable. And they're being left, whether it's in Texas, Oklahoma, Ohio, Florida, the stories are endless,
it's
right?
Her right.
It is disgusting. And so I was trying to explain what was going on, and you know what? I can handle getting interrupted by people, but at that moment, I just wasn't feeling it. Just wasn't feeling it.
I think understandably so.
Francesca, in the comment section,
context, though. So we're going to play.
They're saying that you gave Piers Morgan a hard on. Ew, ick, gross. I very much doubt it.
You can imagine, okay, a second Trump administration, what would it be like? What would it be like for women? We don't have to, because it's happening right now, where people are bleeding out in their cars from having miscarriages that should be treated and attended to. They're losing their ability to ever have children again, right? Because hospital workers are more concerned with bureaucracy than people's lives. So Peter, don't interrupt me as you're talking about abortion rights and you say you support a woman's right to choose. Shut up and listen. As someone who's a mom, as someone who could have died herself, okay? It's time for you to shut up and listen to the women who are telling you loud and clear, we are dying out here. You're putting our lives on the line out here. Women in red states, women in blue states, women all over. It doesn't matter whether we love Trump or we hate Trump. The effect of overturning Roe v. Wade is the same. Our lives are on the line, okay? We don't need to imagine the future. It is here right
You've
now.
made your point. You made your point very forcefully. Go on, change topics.
There's a good point, and I would like to not be on the air anymore. I want to go somewhere else. Please, someone call. Oh, I got a phone call. My house is on fire. No, what horrible timing. But anyway, no, that was great.
Jessica's laughing. She's loving it.
And I'll take this one. Envy Susie says that woman next to Fran in that clip totally was me.
It warms my heart. There's a woman like you, Francesca, out there fighting for women's rights. It does. You're a voice for many women.
People were saying they felt like the woman next to you, and someone said they were.
And that's why I'm proud now I'm subscribed. I can't wait. I cannot wait
it was a great
to see
point.
you
And I don't know
what
who the
I'm
other
lucky
two
enough to
women
watch. I can't
were.
even afford
assume
his
they were on
channel.
the other side
John,
of that
I don't
issue,
roll his
but
channel.
Was that the end of the
This
conversation
is all I
about
get.
abortion, by the way?
Whatever he
It was
puts out
mostly
there.
the end
That's
of
it.
it. And what I think is interesting about this moment is that the other
not
two
gonna be
women
able to be
were
a paid
largely
member, but-
silent on the issue because I
Sad
actually
face.
think they are pro-choice, even though they might lean conservative, especially the woman farther to my right, who is sort of like has defended Bibi Netanyahu for a year now and is sort of like a staunch MAGA supporter, and even then later admitted in this interview that she also has a relationship with RFK Jr. and they DM, so it's like, oh God. But look, I think this right, for Cheryl. This is the abortion rights issue, again, as I mentioned, cuts across party lines, and it truly is a case where if it didn't happen to you didn't have a miscarriage, and you didn't need a DNC, a dilation and curettage, right, which helps you expel that miscarriage. It happened to someone that you know, right? And for example, I have a friend, my best friend was pregnant with twins. And one of those twins had a genetic disorder. She had been trying for so long to get pregnant. That twin would never have survived, and in fact was putting the other baby's life at risk. What a terrible moment. What a horrible thing to have to go through. If she had not been in a state where she could get a safe DNC, albeit sad, albeit, tragic, she would have lost both of those babies, potentially her life, and the ability to ever have children again. That's what would have happened if she had been in a state with anti-abortion laws. And you guys, I know it sounds like, especially if you're a man, you've never been pregnant, you don't know a lot of pregnant people, you don't really know how the reproductive system works, or if you're a woman and you've never been pregnant, it seems weird to you, right? I don't know these terms.
Nope.
It happens all of the time.
It's not weird.
It is so common. So we're criminalizing women for their own reproductive systems, or the genetics, or the chromosomal abnormalities of their unborn fetus. I mean, it's just like on and on and on. And when I say bureaucracies, I mean bureaucracies. There are hospital workers who are saying, gee, what does the lawyer think about me saving this woman's life? Yes or no? That is what we're talking about here. So again, Purge is on and on about, well, everyone's being dishonest because Trump says he won't sign a national abortion ban. He said he won't sign it. He said he won't sign it. First of all, John, we've talked about it. There's no way in hell, if Trump were to get into office again, he's vetoing an abortion ban. Also, you don't need an abortion ban if you pass a fetal personhood law, does the exact same thing. But again, we don't even need to imagine it. The right loves to have imaginary debates. Well, we're debating reality. We just have to look around us and talk to the women around us
True
to know what's
facts.
happening.
Yeah, and by the way,
Thank you,
what
Francesca.
sort of people
Thank
would
you.
you continue to put onto the Supreme Court? Like, do we think?
We need to replace our
this
Supreme
last
Court
time around
elected
was
people
willing to
because
effectively kill
you got
Roe
some
v.
problem
Wade and theoretically
judges
put it
up
back
there.
to the states.
Clarence
And I'm
Thomas,
sure that's all they'll ever
he already got an
do on
offer
the
from John
topic.
Oliver
I'm
to
sure
get him
they'll
out of there
never
for
weigh
$1
in
million
to chip away at the rights
and a free
across the
RV.
country.
It's worth
No,
like $1 million.
His presence in the White House, even if you believed that he would
He ain't
veto that
leaving.
bill, which is crazy to think, but even if you believed it,
And
would still
Clarence Thomas has
jeopardize
taken
even more
gifts
so
before.
those rights going forward. Anyway, great appearance. You've had a lot of great moments on the show. People were mentioning you eating your cat and stuff like that. But
Thank you.
But that's
Check
why I
out.
know.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I don't want to be a Piers Morgan. I'm not interrupting you.
No, you can interrupt me, John. No, yeah, check out. I did a full breakdown. There was a couple other choice moments in that entire exchange, including me calling Piers out for his
That's a friendship host
very
right there.
rage
Bond.
bait model that he runs over at Uncensored. So go to youtube.com/FrannyFio and check out that. And yeah, give me the clicks, man. I do this for free.
Do that. Yeah. I mean, you're already on this video, presumably. But then also go over there. If you liked her there, she does a full show.
Yeah.
By the way, can you
Special
just
shout out to
telling more of
Francesca
your
on her
guests to
show.
shut up and listen?
So it is free. Yay! I can
Anyway,
enjoy
I want them
content.
to get what they came in for.
Absolutely.
But anyway, okay. So with that said, we're gonna move on to other news in just a sec.
Well,
AJ Nestor had said, in a perfect world, Chris Farley would have been alive to play Tim Walz.
Oh my God.
oh my
I don't
gosh.
know.
So
Maybe.
good.
That would have been good,
Hmm.
but who knows if Chris Farley had lit. Man, what career would he have had?
A great
An additional
one.
25 years? That would have been amazing.
Oh, that's
Okay.
such a good choice.
Ghoul Girl, thank you for being here for 3 months on Twitch. Only one alone here for 32 months says, wow, 32 months of the best news. Thank you. Well, it's not always the best news we deliver, but hopefully we deliver it the best.
Oh, you're
Anyway,
delivering the news we need, John
Chi-Town's Finest, been
Idarola.
here for 8 months. Thank you so much.
And without-
Pearl Drop for
without-
33 months. So just want to say, Fran, watching you tell
The
Pierce
duo
Morgan to
of
shut
you
up and listen
two.
was the best thing I have watched on TV ever.
What would we have, honestly? Now, there's not much left to this. There's a very small bit in the end.
Ever. And Jessica
Aw.
Ortega as well. Thank you. 47 months. Okay, with that said, we got two
Jessica's
more stories to
got
get to.
a
Let's jump into this
laugh
one.
like a
At this
heartfelt
point,
woman.
you probably don't need to hear a person like me with my political opinions
this
tell you,
guy.
hey, Kyle Rittenhouse may not
Kyle
be a
Rittenhouse.
great person, and his accounting of what happened before he killed 2 people might not be 100% accurate. I mean, after all, I don't know the guy. I'm not going to be persuasive, but what if there was someone who did know him and is now spilling the beans? Well, we actually have that.
Uh-oh.
It's his former spokesperson who has apparently had enough of Kyle Rittenhouse's lies about what he believes and what he intended to do and all that stuff. And so now
like I
he's
thought he was
revealing it. So
innocent?
he's his former spokesperson, and he said,
Like any of us
"My
thought he was
first
innocent?"
impression was a scared kid, arrogant, oblivious to the world around him. When he was telling me about the story, I believed he was being sincere. I believe things he told me that I now understand to be one of his many lies, and that hurts. That sucks." He says that despite also acknowledging taking the job, having been aware of this, so he says Rittenhouse had a history of things he was doing prior to the double slaying, specifically patrolling the street for months with guns and borrowing people's security uniforms, doing whatever he could to try and to get into some kind of fight. So he admits he knew that going in even beforehand.
Wow.
But now he
Premeditated,
believed his self-defense claims
aggregating
initially
factors.
until he learned of a number of text
Would've been nice
messages
to know during the
that
trial.
Rittenhouse had sent in the weeks leading up to the killing. So
Why didn't he
the
speak
texts were in
out?
response to seeing shoplifters at a
Afraid of
CVS
him?
pharmacy on August 10th, a little more than 2 weeks before the shooting in Kenosha. Here is some of what Rittenhouse said. "The world is disgusting. I wish they would come into my house. I will effing murder them." So he said,
Wow.
"I want an interaction with these protesters. I will kill protesters."
Aggregating
And then
factors.
2 weeks later, he once again put himself into a situation where he could plausibly claim self-defense.
Aggravating.
And what do you know? Some people were murdered.
Aggravating
Again,
factors.
if you've convinced yourself at this point that he was just a good kid, he
No.
was just trying to protect other people that he knows
Hey,
properly.
John,
or
don't try to sound like
whatever,
Mickey
then none of
Mouse,
this is going
but
to change your mind.
that was good.
But this very much reminds me of the guy in Texas who had sent the text messages about I want to kill some of these protesters.
Yes,
and then he
yes.
drove into a crowd of them.
Yes.
And oh, what do you know? He ended up killing people. It's almost like we've set up a loophole for like prospective fantasizing murderers. It's almost like that because that's what it is in multiple states. And so I'm glad that Dave Hancock revealed this. It's not going to change anything.
Well, it was
There's
true.
not going to be another trial or anything.
What they
it
said
is
about
good
Trump
to at
after
least
his
have more
election.
clarity.
After he was elected?
I mean,
Every day after.
why not?
Will
I
never be
know
normal.
that one of the families of those who was murdered by Rittenhouse is actually seeking damages based on this evidence.
Yeah.
I mean, and that
Yeah,
we
they
now
should.
know about his
They should get those
spokesperson
damages.
coming out based on a documentary. Look, we are in a true crime time, and they have, in fact, reopened cases. Look, Kyle Rittenhouse was so clearly gunning to kill people. He wanted to do that. That was
Absolutely.
his intention. And you just laid it out. He laid it out himself. Here's his former spokesperson.
He saw
who
other
honestly,
shooters
I'm
in
like,
the
how
news.
the hell are you Kyle
He wanted to get
Rittenhouse's
motivated to make
spokesperson?
himself a staple
But of course,
point in
now
our
they have
time.
a pang of conscience.
Many other sick
and
mass
they
shooters
see
that
some
have done
text
this.
messages, and they're
Even
like,
sent
gee,
their
maybe
gratitude
not. When
thanks
it's
in
all the
Memphis
coast is
to
clear,
Donald
it's safe,
Trump.
and they've
Did
cashed
he
their
ever
check and
denounce them?
whatnot.
No.
But I know some people who don't like looking at our country through a lens of racial justice or injustice will bristle at what I'm about to say. But for people who cannot help but looking at this country through the lens of racial injustice because they themselves are a racial minority, they themselves have been targeted, they themselves have been historically enslaved, oppressed, trafficked, denied voting rights, and locked away for, far less crimes. For people who've been sentenced to death, even though they were innocent, all you got to do is close your eyes and imagine if Kyle Rittenhouse were black. That's it. That's all you need to know about this
True
case.
facts.
You
Well
just imagine
said.
if he were black,
If he were black,
and wonder if he would have gotten off on all of the charges that he
would
got
have never
off
been
with.
would have never gone like
Attempted
that.
first-degree homicide, first-degree homicide, to reckless endangerment, reckless
We're
endangerment.
going to leave it at that,
of
so you guys can
endangering
think about
safety.
that and mull
All
over
not
that
guilty.
at the end of this
All of them not
part
guilty.
2
It's just
section, because
wild to me. There was no self-defense in this. He's patrolling the streets with a loaded weapon. He's looking for
it's enough to mull over.
Right? And the fact that someone went after him with a skateboard.
Matter. We're more worried about Donald Trump.
I'm sorry.
Someone who had
Rittenhouse
him
made his own
people.
past, and he might have gotten off, but in the eyes of America, he's guilty as sin.
Zimmerman
Just
had
like
a gun,
O.J. Simpson,
ran up on a kid,
who died.
And then, now
just
I'm
like,
within punching distance, I guess I have to protect myself.
George Zimmerman, who we don't talk about
That's
much anymore, but
exactly. The person I assaulted does not
Kyle
have
Rittenhouse
the right to
is guilty as sin.
self-defense.
No
I
question.
do because I assaulted someone is a weird way to set things up, unless you want
so a former Rittenhouse spokesman reveals horrific text. So he knew all about this stuff when the trial was going on after the crime that occurred with
people still have value in society.
Rittenhouse's claim that he
anyway,
was in
we're going to jump
self-defense.
into our final story in just a sec. I also want to let everyone know,
Final
as
story.
always, we will be doing our... Oh, that's a call. We will be doing our... Sorry, I've got to go.
Yeah, I got a call, gotta go, yep.
Anyway, we're going to be doing our members' content later on. Gavin Newsom has signed and vetoed a number of bills. We're going to be talking about them. One has to do with AI, but we're going to be focusing on protections for child content creators, which I think is important because both of our kids are going to be getting YouTube shows literally the second they can maintain a thought. And then also IVF. California making some big moves. We're going to evaluate what we think about them.
California.
Going out to the 2 and 2 members.
You know, my top viewers are from New York and California, so thank you, both of you guys. Thank you. Mostly all guys. Maybe I'll get more girls
fascinating
watching my videos, more
stories I've
ladies.
seen this cycle. It involves a guy named Derek Anderson, a Republican running for a House seat in Virginia, who is being criticized for a photo. We're going to show you the photo, and then we're going to debate if the criticism is merited. So here is Derek Anderson.
Okay, here
and
it
that's
is.
the sort of photo you see from candidates all the time, right? It's the candidate, it's in a nondescript location, but it looks nice.
Okay.
And he's standing with his family.
Yep.
Except that he's not. It's not his family.
Uh-oh.
It's a woman and 3 girls, apparently one of his longtime friends and her kids. And Anderson announced earlier this month that he is engaged and he lives alone with his dog. He has no kids. So he still, don't worry, has political value. If he was alone without kids and a cat instead of a dog as a woman, then he would have no political say whatsoever. But it's a dog and he's a guy, so it's fine. But anyway, so people are saying he's basically faking a family.
This is a
and now his
Republican
candidate
in Virginia trying to do this.
Posing with female supporters and their kids. People put out photos of them posing with supporters. But put up the photo again. That particular photo with that particular framing and that particular grade, it just feels 100% like the entire point is that you're supposed to think it's his family, right? Or do I have democratic derangement syndrome? What do you think?
No, that's absolutely his family. They're standing in front of
it's 10 o'clock. I'm getting ringing in my ear.
in a residential area.
Must be getting tired.
They're not out, at they're not doing an activity. They're not an ice cream parlor. I don't know. There's a million different ways to say these are just voters. But no, that 100% looks like a family. That's a stock photo. Candidate family shot.
Look like a stock photo. We can leave it at that.
Oh, I was at an event and I took.
And you guys, if you want to watch the rest of this and dig into the rest of what they're talking about, since the rest of these parts have been topic covered, you guys can dig into the rest of it. I've got to go to bed, and there's still a small segment left over here, which it's only got a few more minutes. So thanks for watching, and this bit was long enough.
I gotta say, I'll probably end up finishing this myself and or probably later on tomorrow. Thanks for watching, and you guys are gonna see this upload coming in here shortly. Thanks again. I hope you guys liked it. So keep subscribing for more information from me. I always try to keep my stories intuitive, personal, and in-depth no matter where the stories come from, because it's human life. It's the present that we live in now, for women's rights, for all the most important functions of men and women together. Without us together in this world and without our future, we have no present. We got to keep fighting to defend and stand behind each other no matter where we live. And that includes all of those who may live in the city, the suburb, out in the countryside. Americans together, proud for the better future of our future. Thanks for watching.